Zeffy here. Hey, kia ora! Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Escondido in Southern California here. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling start to Tune Up Tuesday. Yes, it's that day of the week where we look at what tweaks and changes we can make. Today we're going to do a little something a little different. Yes, I'm getting ready to, Sparkles is basically packed up, but we're going to be moving Sparkles just for the day. We will be back here this evening, but we've got to go meet the movers over at the storage unit. And rather than trying to go through the hassle of renting a vehicle, because I've got to take Zeffy with me, I figured it would just be easier to take Sparkles. That way Zeffy has the run of the RV and isn't cramped up in a car all day, or for however long it's going to take us. But we're waiting for the call from them to say, hey, we're on our way. But I want to get out of here just a little earlier because I have to go and put some, I think I have to put fuel in. I'm trying to remember how much is in the gas tank. It will have to be done at some point today. So I might as well do it on the way out since there's a gas station. Like I'll go out the driveway of the campground and straight into across the road and into the gas station across the road from the campground. So we'll probably do that on the way out. But it takes a good 15-20 minutes for to satisfy Sparkle's hunger or thirst, whichever way you want to look at it. Anyway, back to Tune Up Tuesday. So this week we're part of a 5-day video challenge. Yesterday we had to talk about 3 tips on something. So I did 3 tips on sleep. So you can find that for getting a better night's sleep. So you can find that on my Facebook page, which is really funny because one of the other members, not knowing that I had done this, she went and also did the same topic. And between the two of us, we got 6 great tips for helping you get a better night's sleep. So yeah, that was kind of funny. But anyway, so today's one we're going to be I'm going to be doing that a little later today, and it's going to be a good one. But it kind of has something to do with the question that's sitting in the description of this video, which is, what skills have you learned so far, and what skills do you want to learn? So when you take inventory, so sometimes we need to take self-inventory. What is it that we know? What is it we have learned? What is it we still want to learn? And we have, and what goals can we set to go learn those things? And this is all part about the tune-up thing. Sometimes it's a major overhaul. Sometimes it's just a little bit. Just a tweak here and there. But today I want you to go and sit down, make a list of all the skills that you have learned over the years. Once, from your very first job up to the job that you have now, or the career that you have now, what skills have you learned over the years? And that even includes not just jobs, but hobbies as well. So like across the way there, we've got a guy who's out there every day tweaking one of his remote control planes. I haven't figured out yet how many he has. I know he has at least 2. And yesterday, the one he had out looked like a P-51 Mustang, so which was pretty cool. It was, it looked really cool. Yes, I was like, oh, I'd love to see that thing. I don't know where he goes to fly them, but he's out quite often. And when he comes back, he takes the plane out of the thing. He goes and he does these little tune-ups and tweaks and all of that on the planes. He was doing something with something that smelled really, really strong yesterday. And there was no wind, and you could smell whatever it was he was using. And I'm sort of like, okay, I'm over here. I can smell it like it's somebody's using it here in the thing. I'm like, what is it like standing right next to him while he's using that stuff? I'm sort of like, man, that's some potent stuff, whatever it is he's using. So I don't know if it was like a touch-up paint, or he was sticking down some decals, or what it was he was doing. I don't know. But anyway, so what skills have you learned over time? And what skills do you turn around and want to go learn? And how are they going to help you in your business, in your hobby? Is it just a hobby, an interest that you have that you want to go learn those skills? Which is totally fine. Something that's always interested you. You want to go pick up some new skills based on that. Like, for example, if you always wanted to learn the guitar, that's a skill, being able to play a guitar. So is that something you've always wanted to learn? So why not go do it? You've got all sorts of different things that you can go out there and learn. Maybe you want to learn how to bake bread. I mean, that was one thing that Brad always wanted us to do, was go to a baking class together where we could learn to bake bread. And I thought, baking bread together? Well, that could be interesting. But we never got to do that. But it's something he always wanted us to do, was to do a class together on how to bake bread, on baking bread and pastries and things. And I thought, well, that would be a really cool skill to have. My skill I want to learn this year is how to be a grill master. I want to learn how to use a grill, how to turn the thing on, get it to make sure it's at the right temperature, how to get that meat cooked and everything, because I really miss the grill. So that's one of my skills I would like to learn this year. But what skills have you learned in various jobs and careers that you've had over the years? Some of you may be on your first job or career. So what skills have you learned to date? Not the stuff that well, I guess some of the stuff you learn in school, like in shop and that sort of stuff, but there's always the math and the reading and the science and all that sort of thing. But what other skills did you pick up at school? So yeah, what skills have you learned so far, and what skills do you want to go ahead and learn? Is there something you've always had a burning desire to go take some lessons to learn how to do something? Like me this year, it's going to be learning how to grill on a grill and make really good steaks. And yeah, maybe we'll get into the smoker thingy later on, the smoking stuff, because Brad used to smoke some really good meat. Oh, that was so good, so tender. Oh, bang. He's got me hungry. I just had breakfast. But think about the skills that you've learned. So, what have you learned so far? Because our challenge today has to do with jobs that we had before we were 21. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I was babysitter. I had a paper route. I was a gas pump jockey. I worked as a waitress in tea rooms. I was a gymnastics coach. And before I turned 17, before I turned 21, I was, I'd already been in the Air Force for 4 years. Because I signed up when I joined when I was 17. So I was sort of like, okay, there's six things. And I'm sort of like, what else have I got in there? And I was trying to think. I thought, oh, hang on. Then I worked in an accountant's office for a week. We actually have, at the high school I was at, we did these job experiences where local businesses would sign up to have high school students come in for a week and learn the basics about that business. And it was always something that they were interested in. And so accounting was something that I was interested in, and I was actually doing pretty good with that at the school. And so I had 2 CPAs lined up, or the equivalent of a CPA in New Zealand. And so I had 2 accountants lined up, and I went and worked in one office for 2 of the days, and the other office for 3 of the days. And it was really interesting because one was just a one-person operation. The other one had a team of people. So it was very different environments in both things, and it just gave good insight to things. And they would sit there and explain what they were doing and how they were doing it, and they'd give me tasks to go and do. I remember sitting there putting a lot of stickers on envelopes. Actually, no, I was handwriting envelopes. That's what I was doing. I was hand addressing the envelopes. This is before all the label thingy came out. So I was hand addressing envelopes and stuffing them and all that sort of stuff in one office. And then he gave me this pile of stuff and says, okay, these entries all have to go under this particular, into this account under these particular categories. And I was like, okay. And he had written on the top which category it was to go into. So I just had to go in and enter in all the amounts and things. So you got to do some of the accounting side of it. So I got to do some life stuff, but it wasn't, critical stuff. It was just basic bookkeeping stuff. So it was kind of cool doing that and working on that job experience too. So I kind of include that in there as well. So that's sort of like, so that will be 7 different things that I had by the time I was 21. So, but we'll talk about that later today because my topic for today is what is my favorite job that I had before I was 21. And I'm like, I've got like 6 and a bit to choose from. Which one do I choose? It kind of got kind of exciting because I was sort of like thinking, well, when I was babysitting, I babysat, kids of different ages from newborns through to 7-year-olds, people who were 3 years younger than me. Come on. So I had a different variety of kids that I would babysit. Then there was the paper route that was getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And back then I was not a morning person. But we had to be up by 5. I had to be down at outside the local bakery by 5:30 to pick up my newspapers. Then I had to bike all the way back up to the area where I lived because I delivered the papers not just in the area where I lived, but also in an area that was across the road from the subdivision I was in. And I had to bike up the big hill to get there. And that was the worst part of the job, was biking up the hill. But yeah, so there was that, and that was the paper route. Coaching gymnastics, started doing that when I was 13, had to give it up when I was 23. Loved that, loved gymnastics. When I had to give it up, I went on such a bender that I went cold turkey on anything gymnastics related for like 10, 15 years before I started watching it again. There was a lot of changes in that 10 to 15 years. Let's see, what else did I do? Oh, school librarian as well. Yeah, that was in there too. That was working in the libraries during recess and lunch times. And we didn't just checkbooks in and out. We were also cataloguing the books, putting them into the Dewey Decimal, so, putting the little labels on the back for the Dewey Decimal numbers. We had to make the catalogue cards. For those of you who don't know what they were, these little 3x5 cards that you had to put the name of the book on, and then you had to make, each book had like about 5 different cards, because you had it filed by author, if it was nonfiction, it was author, subject, title, subject, title, what was the other one? By the Dewey Decimal number. Yeah, so there was 4 that we had to do. And then on the fiction, we had the classification of the fiction, the author, and the title. So we had to do 3 cards. So there was 4 for the non-fiction and 3 for the fiction. And then and there was a specific format we had to use, and that we had to file them in the different drawers in the card catalog things. That was kind of fun too. What else have I done? So school librarian, gymnastics, and then I joined the Air Force. Yeah, that was fun. That was an eye-opener for a naive 17-year-old. Trust me, that was a real eye-opener. I was one of the young, in fact, I probably was the youngest one there, because I was a December baby, whereas everybody else turned 18 before I would in December. So I was actually the youngest one in our recruit course, because yeah, we went in May. I don't think there's anybody after me in January, February, or March or April that turned 18 after me. If I wasn't the youngest, I was one of the youngest. Most of them were like, most of the people were like early 20s. So that was kind of interesting. That was fun. Like I said, a real eye-opener. There's times I was sitting there going, what the hell am I doing? But so there's been a variety of jobs over the years, and but yeah, those were all before I was 21. Oh, and waitress in a tea room. So yeah, we had tea rooms in New Zealand, and cafeteria, and we had to make the sandwiches and the filled rolls and get the coffee going, make the tea as ordered. We also had ice cream that we would scoop, because we also had an area where there was candy and ice cream. So it's kind of like we call them dairies in New Zealand, kind of like a 7-Eleven, but you would actually have the little bags, and you'd count the candy into the bags of what they wanted, like 5 for a penny, or that sort of, 5 for a penny, or 5 for 2 cents, and that sort of stuff. So 5 for 5 cents type of things, or 10 for 5 cents. So we had the big bulk candy, and this is back in the days, in the early 80s, and you would stand there and count out the number of pieces, and people would come with $1 and go, I want $1 of those ones, and they'd be like 5 for a penny, and they wanted $1 worth. I'm like, are you kidding me? We had to stand there and count out every single one of those things. Yeah. And then some people just wanted a mixture of things and come in, and then you had to keep a tally of what it was they ordered and tally it up. And for 10 cents, you could get a ton of candy for 10 cents. But $1, you were getting like a box of candy at that point. But, all sorts of things. And we would, in the evenings, some of the evenings, like late night shopping was Thursday nights, because most of the stores closed at, stores would close at 5 o'clock. We're open Monday through Friday. Stores would close at 5 o'clock. At that time, Saturday and Sunday shopping was not really an option unless you were grocery shopping, and even the grocery store was closed on Sunday. Everything closed on Sunday. But you would have late night shopping. So for that, and the late night shopping was designed for those that had to work during the day. Then they were able to go to the stores late at night to do whatever shopping that they needed. So because the stores would all close around at 5 o'clock, and it would go. But Thursday night in our little town was late night shopping night, and I would be working the tea rooms, and we would actually offer dinners those nights. So yeah. So there's lots of different skills I have picked up over the years in various jobs. So what are some of the skills that you have learned so far, and what skills do you want to go ahead and learn? Let us know in the comments below. I got to go finish disconnecting everything so we can go get some gas. And we're supposed to be out of here. We're going to be out of here about 9:15. So that way, if they call to say they're going to be there at 10 o'clock, Sparkles will be up and ready to rock and roll. So we will catch you guys a little later today when I get to talk about my favorite job from before I was 21. Ooh, that's going to be fun. I got to figure out which one it's going to be. But anyway, have a super fantastic sparkling tune-up Tuesday, and we will catch you guys later today. Hei konera!